for some reason it doesn't pick things up right away, so I'm just going to kind of waffle a little bit, if we want to use Nick Zametti term. So we'll waffle a little bit while we kind of get the thing going and the content is being received by YouTube. So I hope everybody's doing great today. Happy Friday to everybody. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. It's something that's been on my list of things that I just wanted to try out. Has nothing to do with turning really. Maybe we could figure out some way to include turning in there somewhere down the line, but today we're going to be doing pixel art using aluminum honeycomb and resin. So it's, like I said, something that I've been wanting to try out for quite a while now. I've seen cool pixel art, you know, made in many different ways. But when I started using aluminum honeycomb panels, I was like, oh, this would be really cool to fill cells with different colors and make a picture, basically. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Hope everybody's excited about it. I'm pretty excited. One little issue, I think it probably would, well, I have clay, and that's what I was going to use to kind of dam up the bottom. But my clay is like hard as a rock. And I don't really know exactly how to recondition it properly without doing a bunch of investigative work. So we're going to try and come up with a couple of different other alternative ways to get, you know, like the bottom of the honeycomb panels to be, you know, like stopped up. I have like 3 ideas in my head. We're going to try 1 or 2 today. But I really kind of think, and it's disappointing that I don't have clay on hand. I think that would have been the easiest way. Like even like Play-Doh might work. Pretty much anything like that, where you can kind of lay a layer down and then just shove your panel in. So anyway, what is everybody up to today? Hey, oh, we already got people coming into the chat. Cool. How's it going, guys? What's up, Jen? I may begin. Jeremy has made it. I can begin now. So anyway, I'm doing pretty good, if anybody was going to ask. We got lots of snow coming up in Tahoe, and so I actually, unfortunately, the storms kind of moved north of where I usually go boarding, but I got a pretty wicked day in yesterday, and on top of that, I also bought new snowboarding boots, and they were super comfortable, and it was just a joy to be up on the mountain. So, hey, can it be turned? Rock and Chic, how's it going? Romania, that's awesome. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, Jeff? All right, so here's another issue that's going to happen today. You guys are kind of used to, if you've been around my streams for a while, you're used to my main camera view being that what is it, a Sony Handycam, where I can zoom in and it has a viewfinder and everything's really great and it focuses well. Problem is, I don't know if you guys were watching last week, but I broke the battery thing in the camera and so it won't charge anymore. So I have a camera that's actually literally being delivered today, but I don't have it yet because it's being delivered to my house and I work 30 minutes away from my house. So next stream we're gonna have a brand new Handycam that should work good, hopefully. So I apologize, we're gonna be using these. They're not bad picture necessarily, it's just sometimes it's hard to get these little Logitech cameras to focus. So I do apologize for that, but I think it should be pretty cool. Yeah, baby oil. Actually, I gotta be honest, polymer clay might not be a bad way to go. I didn't think of that either. I don't have any on hand, but that might be a cool way to dam up the bottom, actually, is to just bake in some polymer clay into the bottom of your honeycomb panel. Pretty cool. Actually, I have, you're talking, so can it be turned, pictures on the mountain. I had a couple, and actually a lot of people were like, why don't you GoPro or videotape your snowboarding? And I'm actually trying to start doing that. So far the videoing that I've done kind of sucked, but I bought a brand new GoPro that has like the stabilization in it. So hopefully I'll be doing some video stuff. I'm not sure, well, for my patrons, I'm gonna be putting up a video this weekend of turning the mountainscape blank. I don't know if you guys all saw that, but the video is going up and it's going to be only for patrons. Just kind of a little bonus for all the folks that have been signing up for Patreon and supporting me over there. I actually threw in a clip from, and it's not me actually snowboarding, but from up on the mountain, that is kind of an inspiration that I kind of think of, you know, or thought of, you know, while I was up on the snowboarding hill that kind of came up with that idea for that blank. So, all right, so let's figure out the camera situation here. I'm gonna need a tripod. So I'm going to get that real quick, and we'll kind of show you what's going on over here, all right? We've been waffling enough, and for anybody watching the replay, just skip forward to right after this. We'll get my clamp thing out here, and we'll just kind of clip this Logitech. So don't watch the video, guys. I'm gonna have to move this thing around today. We're using the tripod, but but it doesn't work. There's like a little thing that holds the charger cable in place in this thing, and something fell out of it, literally. Mainly because I plug it and unplug it so often. So like I said, I don't have a viewfinder, so I gotta kind of just wing it. I'm looking at my computer screen over there. Okay, so here's what I got. Everybody's favorite, Mario. That's what I thought we'd do the pixel graphic of. There's lots of different pixel art things that you can do, and I mean, you can even come up with your own. I just found these on the internet, and I thought, that's pretty cool. I love Mario. So here's my honeycomb piece, and for anybody that's interested in picking some up, whether it's for pixel art or other turning stuff, I sell this on my website. So it's under the casting supplies under the menu. But I thought, and I'm not going to actually use that underneath it because we got to dam it up, but I figured we would just, you know, drip in some resin colored similar to these colors, and we can get a cool pixel art thing going on. Now, I don't honestly know what I would do with it afterwards. You could like frame it or, you know, do something. So I'll have to kind of figure out what to do with it later. But the first thing that comes to my mind is once we have, you know, the resin in there, I was thinking that would be cool to like put in a window maybe, or maybe even like kind of backlight it in like a frame and then have, you know, light coming out of it. So it's like kind of something that sits on the desk and it's like a light that has the Mario. So we're gonna go for transparent colors for the most part on this one. And I have a couple different things. Now one problem is this is I didn't work that hard at it, but I didn't get this, like, it doesn't match up dead perfectly. So I'm just going to kind of use this as reference and just kind of, you know, figure out where I want to start at, you know, and just kind of do it one at a time. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of time consuming, so I'm not going to make any claims about how long this stream is going to be. But it should be pretty, I don't know, it should go fairly fast once we get the resin ready and the colors. I'm going to be using liquid diamonds for this today. That'll give me lots of working time, and it doesn't require pressure. You could probably use Alumalite, I guess. The only issue is, you know, because I could pressurize this, but the problem is I don't know that you're going to get everything done in time, number one. And, you know, we're backing it with something, you know, basically I'm going to use wax. I'm going to try that out. Like I was saying, clay I think would work good. What are my other thoughts? The other thing that you could do is actually like pour a thin layer of resin and just like basically, you know, stick this down in a mold and just pour, you know, like a 1/16 inch thick, like, you know, thing of resin and just literally dam it up with resin. That would be pretty easy. I don't really want to mess around with waiting for that. Plumber's putty should work, and we might actually try that. This is very similar to clay. I don't exactly know what it is, but it's kind of like Play-Doh. And the other, what was the other thing that I thought of? I thought I had one more thought in my brain, but I'm not sure. So, Michael, how's it going? Pam, metal tape. That's not a bad idea either. Tape. Yeah. All right, that's a good idea. I like that. I have some metal tape, I think. Kind of like this stuff. I have duct tape also. The only issue is like the tape part, the adhesive, the resin might eat through that. I've tried taping things and the epoxy resin, when it starts to heat up, it just kind of melts that bond. Which could happen with wax as well. I don't know exactly. This is kind of an experiment. Like I said, I really do think that I don't know. I'm really tempted to go with this Plumber's putty for this. Like I said, it's very similar to like Play-Doh or something like that. And just like lay down a thin layer of it. That might be the way. I don't know. I did a little experiment just kind of getting some wax underneath a piece of this stuff, and obviously I just ripped it off, but it was leaving a pretty good bond. I don't actually, the more I think about it, I don't think that this is going to heat up that much, so let's just go with wax. I have a big brick of wax that I think I'm going to use, but I will try this and just do a little experiment with a little piece, and we'll try and kind of add some resin into there. Just kind of see, you know, what happens. I might even try this too. That's an interesting idea, Pam. Evie, I hope I said that right. How's it going? SoCal. I get my liquid diamonds from Turner's Warehouse. And if you're in Southern California, it's Chad's down in Phoenix. So it'll be a quick turnaround time. Ooh, drink coasters. That's a really good idea. Or a plate. No, I don't ship to outside of the US, unfortunately. The shipping cost and everything involved with it, it just got to be where I got more complaints, mainly just because it cost too much. So I just quit doing it. Jamie Page, oh man, the neighborhood's going downhill now. What's up, man? Late evening in the UK, that's true. It's pretty late for you guys. Okay, so let's see, is there anything else that I can think of that I should tell you guys? Probably not. So why don't we do first things first, let's do some kind of experiments. Let's try this metal tape. So this is the piece that I'm going to use for our final thing for Mario. So let's put that aside for just a second, and let's get some metal tape on the back of this thing and just see how this kind of works. I don't know if there's any, I don't know how long you necessarily have to wait, you know, or anything like that, if it just kind of works immediately, like when you stick it on there. So let's cut some of this up. Am I on? Problem is there's no viewfinder. It's really killing me, guys. So I'm gonna have to kind of zoom a little bit further out, I think, and just make sure that I got everything that I'm doing in the frame. All right. So, and I have my iPad open already. It's not doing anything. Let's see here. Where's the stream? So I'm going to open that up and try and keep an eye on things. I'm going to be kind of having to work on this, kind of like focus on this a little bit, so I may not be as responsive as I have been the last couple of weeks in the chat. So I do apologize for that. It's just, it gets kind of hard when you're talking and doing and, hey, come on. You get to watch a commercial. Hopefully I'm getting paid some ad money for me watching commercials on my own channel. I seriously doubt it though. Okay, so, you know what? I think this is going to be, I think this might be easier if I actually switch positions here. Because I can see the screen, see the monitor up there? I can see the picture if I'm standing on this side. So let's just kind of do this. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Let's get the camera on this side so that I can actually see on the monitor when I'm doing this stuff, if I'm actually on the monitor. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Maybe move it back just a hair so you can kind of get more of me in there. All right, sorry about the shaky bounce. All right, so my head's not in the shot, but I think it's probably more important that you can actually see what I'm doing. All right, so we got our tape and we got some scissors and we got our iPad. And so just in time, yeah, you made it. You're on it. Okay, so cut a little bit off. Let's see if I can, I don't really need to cover the entire thing necessarily. Get this stuff out of the way so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And if I'm doing anything wrong or weird, let me know, Pam, because I didn't even think about doing it this way beforehand. I'm sure there's lots of, oh, that seems to work pretty good. Huh. I gotta be honest, I might just go with this. This is easier than messing around with wax. I will show you what I had in mind. I like that. Look at that. That seems like it's gripping on pretty good right there. And it's dead flat. You don't have to worry about anything. Good call. See, that's why I like having so many people around, because I don't know what I'm doing with half of this crazy stuff. Wouldn't have thought of that. Probably shouldn't have put gloves on before I started playing with tape. Okay. Michael Bell, what's up? Skip the trial of YouTube, whatever. Wrap it up. Well, I'm not, well, that is a good idea. That is a smart idea. Good call, actually, because that way if it does leak, it's not gonna leak out the bottom. Good call. See, together we can accomplish miracles. Together. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna tape off a lot of this thing. we're gonna give this the full treatment. This is not, like I said, this is the piece that I want to be actually using for the Mario, but I think it's a smart idea to just, we'll tape this thing up and try it out. I think that the only issue with this is we're not going to actually get results on, you know, did it leak at some point when it was curing. We're not going to get that information out of this stream. So I'll do, you know, we'll do another, maybe next week, you know, I'll kind of let you know, did anything go wrong with any of the methods that we worked with. And then down the road, like I said, I kind of want to make some sort of a project out of it, and I'll just kind of do a YouTube video for that. Yeah, I don't think painter's tape, I don't, that stuff I definitely have had issues with it coming off where you just stick it on the bottom. So I would actually kind of not recommend that. I don't think that would work so well. It's just not sticky enough. That's why I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know about tape at first, but this stuff is sticking pretty well. Painter's tape, not as much. Now another thing that I want to do is I recommend heating up the honeycomb before you cast with it usually. I don't know how much of a big deal that's going to be in this case because it's going to cool down fairly quick. I'm going to go get a knife so that I can actually get this thing separated. Steven Daniels, what's up, dude? How's it going? Oh, actually, just seeing your name, I just responded to a comment in the Facebook group. I'm gonna put it on my face because I got a big announcement, guys. Am I on? Oh, that's kind of terrible with the lights. Hold on a minute. Let me put this up here. This like that. And it's kind of crooked, but oh well. So big announcement, guys. Speaking of Turner's Warehouse, I'm going to be doing 2 classes at Turner's Warehouse in Phoenix on March 16th. Let me double check that date. Jamie, just in case I don't get AdSense. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I got to look at the calendar real quick, guys, and let me know if my mic audio drops out for some reason. I've been trying to use this setup that I'm wearing right now on my iPhone, and it doesn't seem to be working. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, the 16th of March. I'm going to be doing 2 classes over at Turner's Warehouse. So the first one, 10 a.m., is going to be just kind of beginner resin casting. So if anybody's like looking to get into it and you're in the Phoenix area or can make it out, 10 a.m. we're going to do beginner's resin casting, and it's just, I'm going to kind of cover all the basics, you know, things that you need to know to get into making pen blanks or whatever. It'll basically cover the gamut of whatever. It's not going to be very specific to pen blanks or anything like that. It's just going to be, you know, how do you work with resins? I'll probably cover pressure pots and like just all that kind of stuff, you know, tools and supplies, safety issues, just kind of how it all works. So that's going to be a good class for people that are just getting started and don't really know much about, you know, what exactly you all have to do. And then the second class is actually going to be casting aluminum honeycomb. So I'm going to kind of go through, and that's going to be a little bit more kind of specifically focused on like making blanks, you know, turning blanks and stuff, and just kind of go through the steps and everything that I do when I'm casting them. So I'm pretty excited about that. Me and Chad have been kind of talking for a while about doing some classes, and he kind of finally got everything set up at his shop. So, and he's in the new space, and it's awesome. He's got a huge, you know, shop area. And I'm not sure it's going to be limited quantities of people. I don't know what the cap is exactly, but so if you're kind of thinking about it, you might want to go and get the tickets, you know, sooner than later, just so you make sure you get a seat. Because like I said, it's going to be kind of limited how many people can go to each class. So I'm going to put a link up in the chat here. And for anybody that's watching this back later, I'm going to also have, let's see here, I'll put a link down in the show notes as well if you're watching later. So if you go to this calendar page on Turner's Warehouse website, go to March 16th, and you'll see two little dots. One's 10 a.m. resin casting, one's 3 p.m. resin casting. If you click on the little calendar things, and I'm actually gonna this is pretty janky, I know, but so this is the page. So we're at turnerswarehouse.com. There's two little dots right here, 10 o'clock and 3. And so if you click on like the 10 o'clock one, you can, how do you do that? So then you click here. This is kind of a weird thing. So you got to click on the thing and then click right here. And then that'll take you to where you can sign up for it. All right. So there you have it, guys. Big news, big news. Pretty fun. First class, like real like class that I've actually have done. Well, I shouldn't say it's the first one. I did a class kind of thing, same type of thing at SWAT. So I guess it's not the first. Put camera on face. Oh, let's see. Let's see here. What else is going on? Okay, well, sorry, Jeff. You can just watch the videos. But the live stream is meant to be kind of fun. And we're supposed to kind of hang out, I think, and that's kind of how we've set it up. So, that's cool, though. No biggie. All right, so back to our taping. Are we on camera here? All right. The live stream is not for everyone. The only thing that I wish we could listen to a little bit of music. It's so quiet in the shop when there's no music going on at all. Especially for these kinds of projects. Like, I really like listening to music while I'm working in the shop, which is actually kind of a problem for my for like videos, because I got to turn it off when I'm, you know, shooting a video a lot of times. But it happens. We'll deal with it. There might be a way to actually play some type of music. It just wouldn't be like a popular, you know, like your typical songs that are copyrighted. So, hey, thanks for the super chat, Jen. I appreciate it. Okay, so we got this guy taped up real well. I got it all over the sides. I guess I could maybe go this way too with it. But I guess I'm going to leave these two ends untaped, and we'll try and put it kind of, we'll do some down there and just kind of see if it leaks out. You know, if I fill some cells here, will it actually kind of leak out the side? So it'll be a good test. So we got that one ready. Now for wax. Now I have a giant brick of wax, and I've had some for a while, just because I had some. Let's see here. No, I'm not planning. I don't have plans to go to SWAT this year yet. I'm kind of waiting to hear if any vendors are going to pick me up. I can't afford to get out there just on my own this year. We have a lot of travel plans going to the UK, so that's kind of taken my entire budget for traveling. But if somebody wants to pick me up, if one of the tool companies like Easywood Tools or any of them decide to pick me up and have me do demos and pay for the trip, then I may be coming still. So I definitely want to. SWAT is one of the best. The two that I'm thinking about maybe doing are, that it depends on what's going on and if vendors pick me up. One would be SWAT, the other would be the National Symposium. Those two might be, those are the other two that I might be doing. All right, so let's get kind of a shot here. So for the wax, and this is, so I snowboard. Many of you probably know that. What I have here is an iron. And, if you're waxing a snowboard, you take your wax and you drip it on and then you flatten it out with the iron, let it soak in, and then you scrape it off. That's how you wax like skis or a snowboard. So you can do the same thing. Now, do not use an iron that you ever plan to use on clothes again. Do not do that. If you need another way to melt the wax, you can just like put it on a hot plate type thing in a container that you don't really care about, and you can melt it, just like on a stove type thing. But so since I have an iron that I don't care about, I'm just going to do this. And again, I'm just going to kind of drip it down on this, and then basically like on this is all wax, and just make a small layer of it. So let's see if initially I had the iron turned up so high that it was just like burning it. So this should be pretty good. So I apologize if you guys aren't really seeing this drip on here super close. But I'll kind of bring the camera around so you can kind of see what's happening after the fact. So we don't need a thick layer of it necessarily. We just need it kind of a full layer. And I'm just dripping it on, this is Corian. I just wanted something flat, and I had this Corian sitting around, so figured why not. Might have been a smarter idea to kind of clean it off first. Maybe, I don't know. All right, so we got our wax dripped on, and then basically I'm just gonna, stick my honeycomb down on it and kind of hold it down on there. I need something, you can hold it with your hand, but I think it would be a little easier if I just stick something on it and walk away, let that wax cool, and then we'll work on it in place on this thing. So let me get the camera out here. All right, so like I said, just dripped a big puddle, and that wax is kind of curing in place. And I just put a heavy blank on top to kind of leave it there. So I think that might be a good way to go. I got to be honest though, guys, this is what I was going to use, but I really like Pam's idea with this tape a lot better. So, and then, like I was saying, clay I think would work really well. Let's do a little experiment with our plumber's putty, which would be very similar to a clay. Let me unplug my iron too. Let's. Okay, so I think we're back. Again, let me know down the road. I don't know if that was just the batteries ran out or I've been having, like I said, I've been having some issues with this, with my setup, and I don't know what the problem is exactly. So anyway, we're back here. Last sound since I picked up. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to kind of... You watch Zach dance. Oh, yeah, I don't really dance too well. Nice, okay. Yeah, we'll go with the aluminum tape. No, I don't have sound set up on my tablet, so I'll have but I can just kind of keep an eye on. Did I get another super chat? No. Okay. Oh, Smiles for Miles. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, Smiles for Miles. Oh, what's up, dude? I thought it was Strings and Blings first. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, I can't keep up with the chat. It's going too fast. So, we're going to go for the tape method. So let's get tape on this. This is the piece that I wanted to do. I got something funky in here. I'm going to blow it out. Okay. I'm going to kind of keep an eye on the volume and everything too, because I don't know why it... I haven't been having a problem on the stream. I've been having a problem with my iPhone because I think that it has... I think there are some issues trying to use this kind of equipment hooked to an iPhone, which kind of makes me annoyed. My phone's been doing really good for most of the video stuff. I've been really enjoying using it for most of my video stuff. It just does everything. It gets into tight spaces easy. It's pretty cool. But, you know, hey, Mike Schmitz, what's up, man? How you doing today? Man, I need getting tape off of you know, like the backings off of tape is kind of tough. Or maybe this is what you're talking about, the backing. Is there a difference between this and like HVAC tape, perhaps? This stuff seems like that HVAC tape to me. But I admit that I don't really know what I'm doing. So is this thing... Okay, so the wax is pretty well hardened up, and I'm going to actually pour some resin in these little test pieces so that we can kind of just see what happens, you know. I just want to kind of have fun with it. See what's going on with this pixel art and filling resin in these little cells. So we'll try and figure out what works the best, and I'll report my findings. All right, more tape. Normal sticky tape. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I think part of the problem is I'm wearing these gloves, and it's actually not that bad if you just use a little blade. I can get them kind of unstuck pretty well. Let me get kind of closer in here so you guys can see what's going on. Now on this one, I'm gonna cover both ends this is the piece that I actually want to use for this. All right. We're almost there, guys. And we'll mix up the resin. So again, I'm going to be using liquid diamonds. I think that pretty much any, any slow setting resin, I wouldn't recommend polyester resin in this case. It tends to shrink the most. And so if you're just trying to fill in a void like that, I don't really think it's going to be your best bet. I would go with an epoxy product, most likely. If you can find a polyurethane product that has a really long working time, that might work too. But I don't think that I would recommend Alumalite, really. It could work, but it really, without pressurizing it, it tends to, which we could maybe, oh, that's what's happening here. I'm getting wax. I'm getting wax chunks in my honeycomb. That's not good. Get off of there, wax chunks. I don't want wax chunks in my mold. Okay. Make sure your work surface is clean. Yeah, I don't really think that Alumalite would be really your best bet for this kind of thing. I think that it's just as well to go with an epoxy or something. That was stupid. Okay. Think about what I'm doing. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. It's not necessarily going to be metallic tape on the back. I'm not sure what that means. I wasn't planning to put the piece on top of that. It doesn't match up anyway. I didn't print it out perfectly. So I'm just going to look at it and kind of count. It's not going to be the most efficient process, that's for sure, the way that I'm doing this. There may be better ways, but like I said, I don't necessarily know them. Because I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun today. All right, so we got one end clipped up. So we're 3 sides. We just need to cover this guy up, and we'll be ready to rock. Hey, what's up, Franklin? Carl, what's going on, man? Glad you could join the fun today. Did I do that wrong? I totally did that totally wrong. Whoops. I'm gonna have to redo this one. I don't know what I was thinking there. Thinking of snowboarding. Everything went out the window. Okay, one more time. Do this the right way this time. All right, so let's see here. Clear tape. Well, I'm going to take off the metallic stuff at the end. That's the plan. That's the game plan. And that actually, it may not really come off too well, which might kind of lend, the clay or even wax idea a little bit better. But I plan to remove this stuff after we've cast it. Now, we might have to just basically sand it off. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see how this works. Like I said, just kind of it was an idea in my head. I haven't really seen anyone actually do this, I don't think, with resin. Definitely not like with resin and honeycomb. So we're just kind of testing the waters today, seeing what's going on with it. Okay, so we pretty much got this pretty well fixed up here. It's kind of a half side, but I don't really think the resin's gonna flow up over it. So we got our piece, we got our Mario, we got our resin. Again, if you're just joining, we're gonna be using liquid diamonds today. It's a 45-minute working time epoxy, very thin also, so it should work pretty good. And so what we've got here, again, if you're just joining us, we're gonna kind of put in colored resin in these cells and match, you know, this kind of pixel art that I printed out. I used aluminum tape to dam up the bottom of our main piece. We're gonna go for that for the thing, you know, for the Mario. But I also want to try this out. We used a little bit of clay. It's called Plumber's Putty. There we go, Plumber's Putty. Kind of like a clay material. I think that's a really good way to go for this. I think it's a pretty clean way. But we'll put some resin in here and just kind of see how that works out. And then on this piece, we put some wax. It may not be very easy to see, but this material, this blob of stuff, I've melted wax on this and just stuck this piece down, and it's pretty well stuck in there. I don't want to tug on it too much, but that should work fairly well to dam it up also. I think the big question I have is how hard is it going to be to get this tape off after we're done? I don't know. I think this one will just pop right out, and the wax probably will too. I'm a little worried that the resin could interact with the wax. It's kind of a soft material. Don't think that's going to happen with the clay though. So let's get some resin mixed up. I don't know, let's see here. These panels are 3/4 inch thick. You know, and how big is this thing? Let me just kind of think about what we're doing here. I'll just try to kind of think in pen blank equivalents. So it's about 3.5 by probably 3.5, 3.5 by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 6. So it's maybe about 2 pen blanks. I'm just gonna mix up probably, like, we can always add a little bit more. So I'm just gonna mix up a couple 100 grams of resin total. That should hopefully maybe give me enough to do the Mario, and then also have a little left over. If we don't have a little left over or we run out, we'll just mix up more. So let's get this going here. Make sure that the sound is still working. I'll just kind of turn the camera so you can kind of see me prepping the stuff, prepping the resin. All right, stop real quick and see. All right, no problem, Frederick. Have a good one, man. Well, I'm glad your finger's healed, Carl. That's good. Hey, Franklin, how's it going? Just hanging out. That's cool. Yeah, we're having some fun. I kind of like having these streams on Friday. Is this thing totally crooked? I like having these streams on Fridays, because Friday, you know, Friday's Friday. Everybody loves Friday. I don't know anyone that hates it. I'm sure I probably do. If like Friday is your Monday, maybe, I guess. You got to go back to work on Friday. Technically, Friday is kind of my Monday, but I enjoy what I do, so it's really not that big of a problem. But it's kind of a good thing, you know, so I do the streams on my, like, Monday coming back, because I take Tuesday and Thursday off. So liquid diamonds is a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts of the resin to 1 part hardener. So let's see, I got to think about this. Yeah, so 65 times 3. That ought to be pretty close. And actually, another thing that I almost forgot to do, I always like to write notes on every pour that I do, so I'm just going to kind of write down. One of the nice things for me is we're videotaping it, so if I tell you exactly what I'm doing and what mold and all that stuff, I kind of know, but still. All right, so we're doing resin pixel art. So I'm mixing up 200 grams, let's see here. It's going to actually be 195 grams total and that's yeah, that's hold on a minute. 65 times 2. Okay, so 130 grams of part A and 65 grams of part B. So I'm just going to mix it all up, and then we're going to get smaller little cups that we're going to add some dyes to for all the different colors. So for Mario, we got, I'm not entirely certain, I guess I'm just going to use yellow probably for this kind of skin color. I don't really know exactly. I don't know of any better way to do that with transparent resin. We got some brown, some black, red, and blue. So all pretty simple colors to get. And I'm just going to use Alumalite dyes. So 130. Oops, I went a little over. I'm actually going to take some of this back. I don't want to be too far. You want to get your mixture pretty close. Okay, back to 130 of our part A, and then we're going to go with 65 grams of the part B. Let's see here. Watching with one eye. Oh man, that's cool. I appreciate you hanging out. I'm sneaking up on 65 grams here. And again, liquid diamonds, you got 45 minutes of working time. So that should be plenty. For the most part, I would say that should be enough. It's not really that big of a deal. Even if it starts to kind of set up, you could mix up more and keep going. It's not like, you know, if you're making pen blanks, you kind of need to have everything mixed up and ready to go and, you know, into the pressure pot or into your mold or whatever. It all goes in kind of at once. But with this, you can just kind of add a little bit extra, you know, as you go. So I might even recommend, you know, only mixing up small amounts at a time. That's also going to kind of give you a little bit more working time as you go, and then just mix more as you need it. That might not be a bad way to do something like this. All right, we got 65. And I kind of estimated on the low end. I don't exactly know how much we're going to need. I have an idea, but you know, I kind of went for like a low ball amount, and I can always add a little bit more later. So let's get the camera back to our position over here. Can't see the screen. Okay, so I think you guys are seeing it good. Now, if you're not going to be, we kind of just did a thing, you know, working with resins and not pressurizing them. You generally don't want to be like, you know, furiously stirring up your resin. It'll introduce more air bubbles, you know, the harder you stir it. I'm still not gonna, you know, you could do it really slow if you want. I see some people, especially if you're mixing up a very small amount, you know, you could mix it literally super slow like that. I don't have enough patience for that, so I'm gonna mix it up a little bit fast, but just kind of, you know, not really whip it. And I'm gonna introduce some air bubbles, but I think that it's not gonna be that big of a deal. They're gonna kind of float out of your mold. And even if there were a couple bubbles in this, I don't even know if you could actually see them very well, if it would be that noticeable in the end. So I'm not going to worry so much about it, but If you're very concerned about keeping all the air bubbles out and not pressurizing it, then I would, recommend stirring really slow at that point. Is the sound still messed up? I don't think there's a problem with the sound right now. Shouldn't be. Is everybody hearing that? Always add the resin to the hardener. I can't imagine why it would make any difference. My problem is I'm gonna pour in the thicker part first. So, I don't know. I don't think it really makes any difference. I don't know. I could ask Chad about that, I guess, because he knows a little bit more, and he knows the guy that runs the company. Be a good question for him, but I can't really imagine why that would make any difference at all. I just find that it's easier to sneak up on a number, if you're like to pour the thick one in first and then pour the thinner part second. So that's just generally how I do it. Now, for Alumalite, I use the pumps, so it doesn't matter. They end up coming out the same viscosity. So I just add A first, but like I said, I really can't imagine what difference that would make in the end. The main thing is you need to mix the part A and the part B together completely. So that's really the important thing. The only thing that I could maybe see somebody arguing with that is that maybe if you pour the A into your cup, it's thicker and it may tend to want to stick to the sides of the cup more. But if you do a good job stirring it, that really isn't a problem. Another thing that helps is if your cup doesn't have a bunch of ridges and places where resin can kind of get stuck in there. Because what ends up happening is if let's say you pour part A in here and there are some like letters on the bottom of this cup, in smaller amounts, if some of the part A got stuck in there and didn't actually get mixed in, you could throw off your mix ratio and have curing problems or something. But like I said, I can't really worry about that. I can't imagine why pouring A or B first would make any difference. That's a good question, though. Colorado Springs, how's it going, Kevin? Are you guys getting totally slammed with snow over there too? I don't know exactly. I really only keep an eye on like my mountains because I'm a snowboarder, and I don't really pay attention to weather outside of anywhere else. But I'm kind of guessing that the storms that we've been having, because we've been getting just slammed in Tahoe, I'm guessing they're heading towards Colorado too. Let me make sure that I'm not missing anything. Just ordered first, let's see here. Dave, just received your first order of Alumalite clear. Are the measurements that critical? Or are you a little... I think that the measurements are critical. But keep in mind, I have a scale and my scale goes down to 10th grams. So why wouldn't I make it? I have the ability to make it perfect, so I'm going to do that. Now, where it becomes absolutely critical is if, let's say you were only mixing 20 grams, which I don't think that's probably not going to happen necessarily, but I mean, if all the resin in the cup was like 20 grams, like you're mixing up a tiny amount, if your scale is only good to the nearest, like accurate to the nearest like ounce or something like that, I mean, it could be off like a full ounce. That's going to throw your ratio off and you're going to have some issues. If you're mixing up 500 grams, 32 ounces of resin, then being off one ounce or, half an ounce or whatever is not going to really cause any issues. I just think that, for the most part, I think that the closer you can get, the more accurate you can get, the better off you're going to be. You're just going to get the best results, being more accurate. Another reason, I guess, that I would say that, given the choice, should I make it, super accurate or not? If you do have problems, then who knows what it was, you know, if there are, like, what I like to do is try to eliminate the possible sources of issues so that you can actually diagnose the problem if you have one. If you're just kind of lazily, you know, not really paying attention to the measurements, not really mixing that well, like, I think that the things that you can do absolutely perfect, you should do. That way, you know, you can diagnose problems a little bit easier down the road. Okay, so I think this is mixed up pretty well here. I've been mixing forever, it feels like. So we got that. Let me go get a couple of little cups for our different colors. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Brown, blue, yellow, red, black. Brown, blue, yellow, black. Okay, 5 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. I'm going to try and get this camera closer in here for when I pour my dyes in. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to just pour a little bit in each one of these cups. And then we're going to add some Alumalite dye to them. Actually, we're going to need a little bit of resin, I think. Some cups are not going to need, like some colors, there's not as much of the color. Like black, there's really not much black. So one of these cups, I'm going to put a very small amount. Like that. I'm just kind of winging this, I don't know. Now for the black, we're really not going to get that transparent. So I'm going to add probably 1 or 2 drops of black. It doesn't really matter that much. So we got, and I buy the Alumalite, the big 16-ounce jugs of Alumalite dyes. So it may not look like, you know, it doesn't have like Alumalite branding on it, but I just bought a bunch of small bottles. I actually got these from Alumalite. A bunch of 1-ounce bottles, and I just buy them in bulk and then fill up my little ones because it's kind of hard to measure with a 16-ounce bottle. So if anybody is curious about that, I'm going to use, let me look at something here. So Alumalite has I don't think that's going to work. They have a color called Caucasian, but yeah, I don't know, that might work. Let's try that. Alumalite sells a dye called Caucasian, and I don't know how this is going to turn out I think I'm going to try a little bit in a small, like just put a little bit in a cup of resin and just see how this looks. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out transparent, but it's probably just as good as yellow for Mario's skin, I would guess, kind of. I don't know. Actually... yeah, we'll take a look at that. So, and then I got blue, and then brown, and what else do we got here? So, and red, blue, brown, red. So, just so you can see, so we got red, we got brown, we got black, we got, you know, orangish pink skin flesh tone. Blue, let's see, is that it? Yeah. So, we got all our colors. So I'm going to get some little mixing sticks and we're going to add our dyes. Now, we don't really have a lot of resin in most of these. So here's our black. Let's just start with that. I'm going to put 2, you want to kind of shake up the black and the white. So, can you guys see that? Let's get the camera down low. There we go. So I'm going to add two drops. I think that's probably going to make this perfectly good. Probably could have got away with 1, but we're kind of going for black. It's going to be opaque. Okay. So we got black done. That was easy. And then for the rest of these, I think that we'll be good just adding a couple drops of each one. Let me get some little paper towels so we can kind of clean up messes and stuff. So for this one we got red. Let's just put 2 drops in and see how that works. I think that'll work great. Set that aside. We got blue. Now for the blue, Alumalite's blue dye gets kind of dark, so I'm going to just put a very small drop, like the smallest drop I can get to fall off the tip of this thing. Should be good. It's going to stay transparent. It doesn't turn like opaque, but it does get pretty dark. If you need to sneak up on a color, I think the best way to go is to use like a toothpick or something and just add a tiny, add a tiny bit at a time using a toothpick. There we go. Seemed like a lot more than I wanted, but that's okay. I think it'll work. It'll be a little bit dark, but that's not too bad. I think that'll work good. I could have maybe gone a little less on that. See how it kind of darkens up when it's, you know, in thicker amounts. It's fairly thin, you know, if you pull out just a little bit of it, but it gets kind of dark when it's in larger amounts. Now they also have another dye, another blue dye called Ocean Blue, which is significantly lighter. But I don't know. Could have gone either way on that. Let me scroll down. Oh man, the chat's going crazy. Pink, white, and yellow. Yeah, the problem is I don't want that to be opaque, really. So really I'd rather just go with yellow if I have to just pick something and then make sure that I really want most of this to be transparent in here, so that if you had a light behind it or put it up in a window, light would, you know, transmit through it. When you start adding white to resins, you lose the transparency. It's opaque. It's a trying to think of what is it. I can't think of the name, but it's a different type of dye that has bigger particles in it, and it ends up making things opaque. So we got red. We already did that one. Get the ones that we've already done out of my way so I don't accidentally grab one of those. Okay, so I'm gonna pour a little bit of resin into this cup, a very small amount. I'm gonna actually get a toothpick, and we're gonna just lightly kind of play with this Caucasian color. I don't know exactly what, I haven't used it for a while. It just wasn't, I had no use for it specifically, you know. So here we go. Let's just get a little bit on this toothpick. That's actually more than I wanted. Oh, I don't think that was enough. Yeah, I think this might work. Seems like it's kind of, yeah, I think that will be what we're looking for. Can you guys kind of see what, I don't know if it's, I don't know how well you can see that. But I think that should work. I don't know, like I said, next week our regular camera will be back, but I think that this is going to work okay. So let's just go with, this one's pretty full. So I'm going to go for just a very small drip using this Caucasian. Like I said, I have no clue how this is made up. That's another reason why I don't use it. If I'm going to make colors, I'd rather use like your kind of primaries and secondary colors because it's repeatable. I have no clue what's in this thing. So we'll just put a little drip in there. So that's why I don't really use it for anything that I do. Yeah, I think we could actually even add a little bit more, but is that kind of coming through on the camera? It does kind of have a skin tone to it, sort of. It's pretty close to what we're going for. I think it's better than yellow, for sure. Yeah. I'm gonna actually even add another one. We're going for it. This one seems pretty transparent. I think we nailed it, guys. Caucasian. Mario. If you want to make a Mario, get some Caucasian dye. Okay, so that's good. And what else do we need? Blue, red, brown. We need a brown. Okay. Brown is another one that can get dark really quick. So let's just kind of add a small amount. I don't know how well that worked. Actually, I want to use a toothpick on this because if we get it too dark, it's going to look like black. I don't really think we need a whole lot. Maybe one more toothpick amount. Sorry, I can't check the screen, guys, but it's tough when you're like doing stuff to kind of keep up with the chat. So I'm going to do another one of those with the brown, just a little bit of toothpick amount here. We'll just kind of sneak up on the darkness that I'm, and actually I think that's probably good. Just going to kind of sneak up on it. I need more stir sticks. All right. So that's looking good. We got brown, skin color, red, blue, and then we got black. All right, now let's try and get a good camera angle as I fill in. We'll just start off with the Mario. We'll just go for it. That way, if anybody's got other stuff to do, at least you can see like the main project. Then we'll get on, we'll just add a little bit of resin to these guys, and then we'll just kind of see if there's any difference, you know, after, like if we have leaks or if it's, you know, works better or not. But let's just get on Mario here. So what I'm going to do is, there may be ways to make this a little easier, you know, like where you can kind of follow your, yeah, I don't know, like color in things so it's easier. I don't know. I'm just going to basically start somewhere and just try and keep track of like the numbers. That's why I went with, this is a pretty simple one. I think that if you were doing something really complicated with a lot of colors, this may not work so well unless you have it color coded on the back. But we only have 5 colors and there's not that many to fill in, so it should be pretty easy going, I would say. Oh my God, Scott Grove is here, and Bill Swenson. How's it going, man? How will I get the resin in the right hole? That's actually the easy part. To get the resin in the hole, we're going to use pipettes. So you just suck it out and then just squirt it in. So we'll have to have a pipette for each color. We don't want to mix our colors. And yeah, that should be good to go. So let me move my thingy around here. Let's see here. Are the dark areas? I'm not sure which dark areas you mean. Mother of pearl. flesh color. Yeah, mother of pearl might not be bad. Okay, let's see here. All right, so I'm kind of trying to, let's see. I'm trying to make sure that I think I'm going to move everything back here again so that I can kind of keep an eye on the screen. I guess I could look on, I don't want to do that. I'm going to move this stuff around a little bit, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, Chad Schimmel's calling. Told him not to call in the middle of my stream, but it happens. It happens. Okay, so sorry about all this reconfiguring, but I'd rather be standing on that other end so that I can see the screen and make sure that you guys are actually seeing what I'm doing. Okay. Out of the way, toothpicks. Oh. Okay. Try and get like right over the cells if possible. So bear with me. I guess we're going to need to come down quite a bit. So I'm not sure which dark areas you were talking about. Maybe kind of hard to get this extremely well, but I'll keep an eye on the screen here and just kind of make sure that I know what's going on. And I think I'm going to actually have to turn this the other way. I think it'll be better if I'm looking at it correctly, you know. So you guys will be kind of sideways, but I think this will work best for all of us. Okay, so can you see me? No, you can't. This is the only problem, is you can't really see me grabbing this stuff if it's super close. There we go. Let's try that. I can kind of move it around a little bit here and there. So we're starting off with red. Now, one of the big things you got to watch out with if you're doing this, where like you really don't want to mix any colors. Make sure that you don't let it just drip, because that'll screw, you know, if I drip one drip of red into the wrong cell, then it's over, you know, it's going to blend. So this is going to be kind of a delicate, careful process. So let's see here. I don't know. You know, this probably would have been smarter to do diagonally, now that I'm looking at this. Maybe. You know, I guess it doesn't matter. This might have been better to do. Yeah, I think this would have been better to do sideways. All right, well, looking at this, I need 3 more in the front. So if we did this kind of sideways, it might be a better way to do it. If you kind of cut your honeycomb, you know, sideways. Now that I'm looking at this, dang. Well, oh, I just kicked the... This is hard to do with a camera and all this stuff going on. I can see the resin seems to want to be, it's trying to seep out into the other cells on the bottom, so I don't know how well our tape is working, but not sure what to do here. You guys see what the problem is? I'm like, it's not, you know, if I went, what I was going to do was go, you know, sideways to make the picture like that. But you don't really, it's not like you have cells right next to each other with this honeycomb. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to stop real quick. I think if we just turn this, we might be okay. We might run out of room. I don't know. So I'm going to basically, this is going to be that first dot up on the top there. Or actually, I think it might be, I don't know. I'm going to go right here. All right, so what I'm doing on this row is actually the second one down first. Hopefully that makes sense. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 2 more. Okay, so we got the second row done. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on it, try and top off whatever I need to. So we'll go back up 1 layer, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3 back. It starts 3 back. So let's just go. Let's go from. Let's see. Let's start at this one on the back end and just see how this ends up looking. I think that'll work pretty good. Oh, we're out of resin. Okay. So it's going pretty good, I think. All right, Pam. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you could come out. We like to have a little bit of fun on Fridays. Okay, and an air bubble right there. I don't want that. All right, so we got, I keep kicking the tripod. Sorry about that, guys. So we got the 2 rows of red, and I think I'm just gonna put this down and move to the next color, and we'll just do this row by row, right? It just seems like the smartest way to go. So let me get a few more little paper towel things, and we'll just keep going on. I would recommend, this is getting very uncomfortable on my back already, so I would recommend not live streaming while you do this and get a good comfortable chair. But you do want to be over it, you know, so just try and find a good way to be comfortable while you're doing it. So we got red, we got brown, and black. Okay, so we need 3 dots of brown. So let's start with that. I think we might need more dye in this. What I just did was I sucked it into the pipette, and that's not very brown. So I'm going to go with a little bit more because that's about the same color, or I should say same size as the cell. So I want to add just a little bit more brown to the mix. I think that will work out the best. Just gotta make sure I find the right one. Blue, where's brown? There it is, found my brown. So we're gonna add a little bit more. I think one of the, sometimes the hardest part is just getting your colors kind of right, you know? with resins. I think that's actually, if you're trying to color match stuff, that's probably the hardest part of resin casting. Much easier if you can just use like pearls, if your project will allow for that. If you're really trying to like color match with dyes, that's where things get kind of tricky. And what ends up happening is a lot of times you're going to have to just kind of try things and keep trying till you get it right. I think that's a little bit better. I could maybe go a little darker, but I don't want to get it too dark, you know. Real hair? No thanks. Yeah, well, I would sit down, but I don't want to. All right, so now we kind of have an issue with this honeycomb. We don't have a cell directly below, like in this picture. So I think I'm just going to scoot in. You know, this is supposed to be a hat. And I think that that'll probably be better. We can always kind of try other things if this doesn't work out too well, but 1, 2, 3. So what are you up to, Scott? Is it how's the weather in New York? Are you guys getting cold weather too, or is it nice there? Is it like 80 degrees in New York? Because it's just snowing here, basically. Okay, we got 3 browns. Now, hopefully this Caucasian color will work out the way that I hoped. I'm going to pull some into this pipette and see. Yeah, that's not bad. I think same thing. I think I'm going to add a little bit more of this dye into it, just to make it a little bit darker. So I think I'm actually just going to go for another drop. See how that goes. Maybe 2. Let's go for 1 more. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be really doing much. We might have to add a lot to make a significant difference in the color, you know. So we got 2 of these. I think it's going to work out pretty good as it is. It's pretty fun, actually. I'm going to skip one, and I'm just going to finish up right here. Not enough in there. I'm just going to finish off this row with this stuff. Got to come back and add a black right there. Okay. And then a black. It's kind of hard to see the depth of this looking at it from above, like how full each one of these cells is. So just kind of just to let you know, it is a little bit difficult to kind of really see what the depth is there. You got to kind of watch out because you may suck up like some air bubbles, so you don't want to squeeze this too hard right off the bat, because it can kind of pop, you know, blow a squirt, I guess, out. I don't know. Okay, so we got 3 rows done. Now back to brown. This is starting to get kind of complicated with all these little pipettes going on. So let me organize my space. I'm gonna pull the camera back and show you what's going on over here, so that hopefully you guys, if you want to try this, you're not too disorganized. All right, so everything's kind of just haphazard right now, and I think that it would be a lot better if I kind of moved some of this junk that's in my way out of the way, First off, I'm going to get my red over here. Blue, we haven't used that yet. See what I mean? They all kind of look, they all end up looking about the same. So that's my brown. Here's my black. And I kind of wrap it around. Brown, we got black. We got blue. And then we got Caucasian. There's quite a bit of Caucasian, so I'm just going to leave that there. All right. So hopefully that'll kind of help me out. I think, let's see. Let me know if this just kind of sucks. I'm just going to kind of leave it out. I'm going to grab a chair and see if I can kind of get a little bit more comfortable while I'm doing this. You still kind of have to just like bend over it though, you know? Oh, actually that black isn't very deep. But I think this will be a little bit better. Maybe even if I kind of scoot this closer to me. Yeah, this is a lot better. Like getting up, like, you know, up close to it. I think that's really the way to go. So I just noticed that the black isn't really that one that we were doing. There's not much resin in there. There we go. Okay. So we're on another thing that I think you could maybe do. So let me stop and look at the chat, see what everybody's working on here. Yeah, I know. It's not perfect, but we're just working with it. What was I going to do? I was going to do something. I'm going to get a pen also. And I'm going to look and make sure I think maybe the batteries ran out. That might be what the problem was with the sound earlier. Here's my pen. I want to get a pen so I can kind of like check off when I get a row done. You know, 3 rows in, I'm not really that worried about it, but when we start getting down into the middle, you know, it's just a good idea to kind of check off what you've already done. So we need brown. And where are we at here? What's going on? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is a lot easier if you sit down. So I'm going to skip one, and I'm going to finish up this row with the brown. This is some delicate work, guys, which is not usually my thing, but like I said, I was really curious to do this. I wanted to see how this actually would work out. Surfing Facebook. Oh man. All right, so I'm going to fill this one. And then we got 3. Oh. One thing that would have probably been a little bit smarter was to set a clock, like a timer, to see how long I've been doing this, and kind of get an idea of, you know, when the resin is when the end of the working time is going to be. I got 45 minutes. Now, it's not a big deal because it's not like we're, you know, if it starts to thicken up, then I'll just mix up some more, but still would have been kind of nice to know. I'm a little thick on that one. I'm actually going to suck some of it back. Look at that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We need a black. So I don't know if this is the most exciting thing you guys have seen today, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of relaxing, you know. Now here's another issue with this thing. His eyes is going to be kind of, oh no, it blurped into the other side. I'm going to use an empty pipette and I'm going to suck out the top of that because I got some black in there. And I don't want black with that one. You got to watch the blurps. You don't want any blurps. Okay, so I'm going to go back and fill that. Try and fill this back up with some of the Caucasian. It's kind of, you know, this is going to be kind of delicate. You got to kind of, if you're impatient like I am generally, might not be the project for you. Okay, back to black. I'm going to try to be a little bit more careful this time and not have the black blurp. Okay. Oh, I know, I'm already going cross-eyed. That's actually extremely true. Let's see. One of the top 10 resin pours you've seen? Really? Okay, so where am I at here? Like I said, this is going to kind of take a little bit of concentration. We're on row 4, so I need 3 more Caucasians here. I'm going to quit calling this Caucasian. We're just going to call it skin tone. If you're just joining and don't know what I'm talking about, the Alumalite dye name that I used for this is called Caucasian. That's what that is. We're just going to call it skin tone. This is starting to look kind of cool. I'm going to stop and get the camera in here. Like looking at it from above it's starting to kind of be, you know, kind of cool, I would say. Try and get this thing in there. See how it's, you know, it's starting to kind of take shape a little bit. Problem is the light. But I don't know if you can see down in there, but this tape, it's really not working, I don't think. The red is bleeding all over the place. So I don't think that I would recommend using aluminum tape to do this. It's just not the thing. I think I would probably recommend going with the clay as my top choice, but we haven't done it yet, so we're going to kind of test that out and make sure that what I think is going to happen with that it will happen. So I don't need to mess with this one that we wrapped up. I'm going to put, yeah, I'm just trying to think. I think we'll get an idea if I start filling these other tests. So on this one I did, it's called Plumber's Putty. Think of like Play-Doh, clay. That I think this will be a good you know, example of like clay or something like that, or Play-Doh. And then on this one we used wax to seal the bottom. And so I think what I'm going to do right now is actually fill those, and we can kind of inspect them as we go, because this tape is already bleeding. Like we're already getting results on that. There may be other tapes that work a little better. Maybe if you really press on it and do stuff, I'm not sure, but just kind of out of the gate, obviously that's kind of problematic. So let's just put some red. I'm going to use red because that's the one that seems to be bleeding on this other piece, and it's, you know, very visible. Gonna kind of do it similar. I want to kind of put most of the colors. I'll use a couple different colors, I think, but I'm gonna kind of put them all kind of closer together, you know, similar to if we were doing a picture. But I'm not trying to copy anything with this. We're just pouring in some resin just to see how that wax works as a backing. What I want is something that, you know, will be sealed. It won't let resin seep underneath it or anything like that and get around. Oops, where's the blue? Let me toss that. There we go. Here's a blue pipette. So did you guys see what was going on there? Where it's kind of bleeding out around the edges on the bottom? It's kind of a bummer because like that was a brilliant idea. But I don't know that I would trust it too well. Oh, I'm bleeding this. I guess it doesn't really matter because we're just looking for... I'm not really trying to get these all perfect necessarily. Well, I'm definitely not getting them all perfect. These tests, I'm just kind of dripping stuff in here. All right, sound still working? Yep. I use rechargeable batteries, so maybe I have like some dead batteries or something. Maybe I'll go back and try my iPhone again. That was the problem, is I've been trying to use this setup, this wireless mic with my iPhone for shooting video, and I haven't been successful. Haven't had very good luck with it. I think it just basically doesn't use it, and it's just using the phone mic. So I hope this is a reasonable test of these different things. I'm not going to make a whole picture on these. I just want to kind of fill up some cells and see how well it contains, you know, everything. So we'll go for a little bit more red over here. And this is that Plumber's putty. As the base. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, that's the big deal with these, something like this. I really, you know, I don't know what I'm doing necessarily. I've never tried doing anything like this. And I'm curious. You gotta do experiments to see what will work. And the funny thing is, a lot of times when you're just experimenting, like, your initial thought, like, oh yeah, that should work great, you know, sometimes doesn't pan out. Sometimes it does. So what's everybody doing this weekend? Anybody got any big plans? I don't think we really have any plans for this weekend. Standard fare. My weekends are usually work, you know, like I work on both days, Saturday and Sunday. And then I actually have Sunday's my big workout day. do a big high intensity training workout thing. I got backwards things. Now, I take Tuesday and Thursday off so that I can go up on the snowboarding, you know, go up snowboarding and not have a bunch of people up there. Peach, that's a good idea. With a thin, clear level. Yeah, that was my other thought, was you can just, you know, like put this in a mold and then like you were saying, just pour in like a 1/16 inch and just shove your honeycomb down in there. I think that would be a great idea. I just don't really want to do that. Particularly, I don't want to wait for it, you know. But I mean, yeah, these cells they're dropping. I mean, maybe if I press down, oh, and then I got stuck on there. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this tape, I don't think. So I think this might end up turning out to be a gigantic failure, because like it's, you know, I can see cells that were full just dropping, you know. That's kind of a bummer. I honestly kind of think like there's no point in me going further because it's just going to bleed out. I'm not getting that much bleeding the further down I go. Maybe it's just at the top. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep going because worst case scenario, I think the resin will set up eventually and kind of stop the bleeding, you know. So I think I will kind of keep going on this, but it kind of sucks. Like I don't know. I can definitely, I'm seeing it's bleeding out. Dang. That's no fun. More shoveling, no. Oh, that sucks. I hate it when you wait too long. Yeah, Bluetooth isn't very good sound though, unfortunately. Five acrylic blanks in the mail. Nice, that's cool. 5 bowl blanks, sweet. You got a lot going on. I haven't had very good luck with brass shavings. They're so heavy that, like, man, they just sink like a rock. So we did, let's see here, we did 4. Is that right? Yeah, I think we did. Got my pen here. So we did row 4. So we need a brown. Another thing that might be a good idea is to actually like write black, brown. Brown and black kind of look the same on these little jugs. So just a note. Trying to kind of, you know, explain as many things, give as many tips as I'm doing this and going, this would have been smarter to do some other way, you know, or what are the problems that I'm having. So we'll do some brown. Again, because the cells aren't dead lined up, you know, this may not turn out like perfect, but that's fine. I was kind of torn. I liked the Mario, you know, idea. I just thought that would be kind of fun to do. I'm gonna skip down to this next line and fill this one too while I'm here, just because I got resin in my pipette and why not? And I got the right color. So I'm a little high on these. Now they'll probably leak anyway, but whatever. All right, so we need 1 flesh tone peach. I think this stuff's starting to kind of get thick. Like I said, I didn't set a timer, so I don't know how much time we have, but now as it gets thicker, it's going to set up and stop, you know, leaking so much. So I'm just going to keep going until this stuff is like thick, like super thick. Okay, and then we need 2 more browns. Can't wait to get down to his body. It's going to be kind of fun seeing the Mario come together. Oh, I went too much. Really got to have patience for this kind of stuff. Oh, that casing blank. Those, well, you did a few of those, right? It wasn't just one. Those were cool. I really like those. So again, I kind of think that you're best off actually mixing up kind of a small amount of resin at a time. Like I don't think there was any benefit to me mixing up a lot of resin first. This wasn't necessarily like a ton of resin, but more than I really needed, I think. So back to the peach. Pizza cutter, sweet. Oh yeah, I knew about that project. So we need 3 peaches. Okay, 3 peaches, a black, and then 3 more peaches. I'm just going to do the peaches right now. So I'm going to skip one, the one that's going to be a black, and then we're going to do 3 more peaches. Skip one, and then do 3. I'm going to top off these other ones that are obviously leaking a little bit. Some of them look like they're low, but they're actually on the top. It's hard to kind of see what's going on exactly in all these cells. As the resin thickens, the air bubbles, like larger air bubbles, are kind of getting trapped in there. Now you could use flame. I think in this case I'm not going to use that butane. I'm just going to use a lighter because there's a couple of pretty large bubbles on the surface. So I'm just going to use this little lighter thing. Pop those. Not a bad way to go, but I'm not sure if I can really show this to you guys, but there's definitely levels. Like the first levels are like way lower. I just don't know if it's going to really show up with this camera though. Can you see? You know, it's like these ones are all pretty full and then it just gets progressively lower as you go in this red. But I think if we just kind of let it, you know, cure in place, then come back, I think that we'll be okay. Like I said, it's starting to look kind of cool. Like I'm excited about it, but there's definitely kind of a little bit of an issue having the cells not lining up right on top of each other, not square. No, you just did one, huh? Oh, that's cool. Piping of lots. Yeah, piping stuff into small things is not the most fun thing ever. This is definitely starting to thicken up. So just kind of stirring it up, the bubbles that I'm getting are pretty big. So just kind of a word of caution. Might be best to mix up smaller amounts at a time. All right, so we got that one done. We got this one done. 1, 2, yeah, brown. So three peaches. I don't know if you can see this, but it's not even, it sucks up the resin slower, which is telling me that it's definitely getting thicker. Probably have to mix up some more resin soon. But I'm going to keep using this stuff until like it really just gets thick. And I can't anymore. So we need 4 cells of peach. I think this is a pretty good color for that skin tone though. Oh, the gotta have patience and control, which I don't have either of. Okay, we got 4 of those, and then the rest are blacks. Definitely thickening. Snowing again, wow. So 4 black cells. It's kind of trippy watching this. It's hard to see the level coming up. So it's definitely kind of good idea to do it slow because things are reflecting and it's kind of hard to tell, and sometimes you could overflow a cell pretty easily, I think, you know, just because without having like excellent lighting and having the right angle while you're looking at it could be kind of difficult. Out of the way, Peach. Okay. I think I screwed up. Oh well. Doing the best I can. And then we got 1 full layer of peach. Black goes over here. So, yeah, I'm not seeing, well, yeah, I don't think I'm seeing any bleeding. There is a little bit in 1 cell, but I think what ended up happening was I accidentally dripped some in that cell. Which could be the case in some of these, but I mean, obviously the levels are going down, so it's bleeding out for sure with this tape. So I don't really think that's the best way to go. But clay or wax, I think, will give you pretty good results. I think you could probably rely on that without any problems. Okay, so we're going, well, it didn't work out too well. Yeah, you can give me all the snow you want. I can definitely use it. I was actually kind of surprised. So I went up yesterday and I go to Heavenly usually because it's right behind where I live, or, you know, the closest to me. And Heavenly really got kind of skunked on, you know, like Tahoe's getting slammed right now, but it's really more like northwest, you know, the northwest side of the lake. They're getting just flat dumped on right now. Whereas the west side, or I mean the east side, really kind of got, you know, missed by the storm. But there was still some decent snow up there. I was actually surprised considering how little they actually got. I found a few areas where there was some fresh powder. It was pretty cool. I also hiked to an area. They had one run, like the top run, or, you know, top lift closed down because of wind. All right, that looks pretty good. There's his neckline. The resin is really starting to thicken up at this point. So if you're going any slower than I am, then you might start with half the amount of resin first and then do the other half. We've almost gotten about halfway. I've been kind of talking and doing stuff. You could probably do this a little faster if you weren't doing other things, you know, but now one other thing, the height of these, or like the volume in each cell, may go down a little bit as air bubbles kind of float up to the top and release. So that may account for some of these cells being a little bit lower than others, but I mean, there's a lot that are like way low. So yeah, it's a redesign. I didn't like that. It's kind of hard because you can't necessarily tell exactly which color's which once they go in there. I mean, you kind of can, but I was thinking that I was topping something off, and it was that I think I topped off the wrong color. So I'm going to try topping off some of these that went pretty far down now, because the resin's starting to set up, and I'm hoping that maybe it won't all leak out again. Problem is, I don't know which cells we went to now. Yeah, I guess we did this one. It's a cool idea, though. I like this pixel art thing, and I think another thing that you could do, rather than aluminum honeycomb, is just print out a grid. You know, like 3D print, just a grid. That would probably work pretty well too. And you could do this same thing with that. Can anybody else think of another, you know, grid system that's like just you could have out of the box and just do this with? Oh, it's blurted. Okay. What other types of grid systems are there? Can't think offhand. Sometimes these things, like, unless you like work with something, it's kind of hard to think of a material to use for like a very specific project. That kind of went a little too much. Whoa, suck it up, suck it up. Now that it's kind of thick, it's a little bit harder to work with too. It's kind of splurting a lot more, like air bubbles are popping when you try to fill it up. Like I said, though, if you are the impatient type, which I gotta be honest, I really am kind of impatient with stuff, I don't know if you're gonna love doing this. It really takes a lot of like concentration, and it's pretty fiddly, like I like to say. 1/4-inch squares, trays. Yeah, little square. I've never seen those. 11 inches first week. Wow. 4 inches tonight. Wow. Yeah, I guess we're supposed to keep getting snow. So I'm hoping that, you know, the south or the southeast area, heavenly basically, gets a little bit more this time. I mean, I think the forecast is calling for snow for like the next like week, basically. All right. 1, 2, 3. Do you guys like the close view or this a little bit further away view better? Use the wax method. Wax it down on a piece of acrylic. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's not a bad idea right there. So like, yeah, if you had like a kind of a thicker piece of something transparent, that would be pretty cool. I don't really have any acrylic or anything like that, but that's not a bad idea. You should get a little bit of light transference. Another thing that you could do, like if you had, I'm trying to think here. There's probably a way, like if you had like a light table, to backlight it underneath. I guess most people probably don't have some sort of weird table with an acrylic sheet on top. Oh, splashing my resin. I just got resin all over the place. I think I'm going to need to mix up more because this stuff is just starting to turn into honey. So let's do that. I'm going to get a new glove on. What time is it? Oh man, is it 5 already? Shoot. Might have to delay this. I don't know what to do, guys, because I don't think I can stay for another. I can do like 30 minutes. So let's mix up a little bit more resin and let's see how far we can kind of get with this. I'll try to work a little bit faster. Just a little bit, just a hair. See how far we can get with 30 minutes. View is fine. You like it away. Cool. Cool. All right. We'll just leave it. So I think what I'm going to do here is mix up 150 grams. Is that right? What did we do the first time? We did 200. So actually, I think I'm going to just do, how far did we get? There's still a lot left in here, and we got almost at least a third of the way done. So I think I'm just going to mix up 90 grams. We'll do 60 and 30. It's 2 to 1. It's going to be a little bit harder to nail those exact specific colors. This is where you're going to run into problems. Is unless you're very careful about how much dye you added to how much resin, it may be a little bit tough to match the colors again. So I just want to warn you, this, me changing the amount of resin on this second shot, and I really wasn't paying that much attention to how much dye I put in each one. So this is where it really becomes important to keep notes and know exactly what you're doing and use the same amounts for stuff. But we'll just kind of wing it. I think I can get it pretty close on this next one. The skin tone, which we don't have that much of, I guess, really, but that one's pretty easy. Like it doesn't seem to be, that dye doesn't seem to be very saturated. It's not a, not a very saturated blend. Blue will probably come out about the same. Black, I don't have to worry about. Red should be pretty easy. So, I mean, overall, I think it's not going to be that hard to match these things up, but still, depending on what type of thing you're doing, it may be more difficult to match colors if you have to pour, mix up resin multiple times. So while I'm doing this over here, I'll just switch the camera view. It's probably crooked, but oh well. So 60 grams of part A. Whoa. Went way over that time. That's what you get when you hurry. I don't really want to just pour that back out because this part A is pretty thick. So I'm going to try and just kind of spoon it out and then dump it back in the jug. Try to save some of that resin, but I need to take a lot of it out of this cup because I went way over. All right, there we go, 60. Let me add just a drop or two back in. And that's kind of, this scale, a lot of times it'll sit at 60 and then like a second later it'll, it tends to drop 1/10 of a gram after a while. So I usually try and add a little bit extra. And then zero it out, and then we're going to add 30 grams of part B. I'm going to just use this little cup. I'm not even going to try and pour out of this jug because 30 grams is really not that much. So the smaller the cup, it's a little easier to kind of sneak up on it. Got to 22. And all right, the mic's still working. That's good news. $26, $27, $28. And 30, almost 30. One more drop. Okay. So we'll mix this up and then we'll break it into the separate little cups over there. Bring this around a little bit. How's that looking? Looks like we need to come down a little bit. That ought to be pretty good. I definitely say that the Caucasian, this dye from Alumalite, is a pretty good skin tone color. I don't know if you guys could really see, but I mean, it's not really showing you. Next week we'll have our normal good camera back. This is a pretty good color for skin tone, I would say, definitely for transparent. If you added some white and made it opaque, probably would work as, pretty well for that too. Opaque light table, yeah, that'd be cool. Red was, no, I definitely did the drops with the red. Brown was like 3 toothpicks, blue was like a drop. Red's usually not, it doesn't get that dark. I'm not as worried with like red, Caucasian. Yellow tends to be, it's not really going to darken up too much, so you can kind of sneak up on it with drops. Black, it's going to be opaque, so I'm just not really worried. I'm going to make it as black as possible. Blue gets dark, and brown can be too. Clear sheet of... Oh, yeah. That's an interesting idea. I don't know if if I'm brave enough to stick my iPad on top of something like that, though. Because you still need to have, like, wax, and I think I would rather just use, like... what I would rather use is these lights. Like, that would be... I could handle that. I don't think putting I would be way too worried putting resin casting on top of my iPad. Actually, you should be able to go back in the video, I think, and see what I did, maybe. Maybe not. I'm not sure if that works that way. I think you could on Twitch when I was streaming on Twitch. All right, so okay, I gotta just get rid of these. I gotta get some new cups. I guess I could have kept those to use as reference, but I'm not all that worried. I think it'll be all right, just getting pretty close to the same colors. There's definitely harder things to do than this. I have faith. I have faith we can do it. Anything's possible. Get our dies over here. Try and kind of move stuff around here so I'm gonna need a bunch of little stir sticks too. Jeez. All kinds of stuff, guys. All right. So let's, oh, I'm gonna need more pipettes too. Clean things up real quick and then we'll get back to rocking and rolling. And I bought the pipettes on Amazon. I bought just a gigantic box of them. They probably have smaller ones, but if I remember correctly, it really wasn't. I bought a box of 500, and I want to say the thing cost like 10 bucks. Like, these things are super cheap, but they might have smaller ones. All right, so let's get our things lined up here. Red, black, Caucasian, brown, blue. Looks like we're going to be using a lot of red and blue down here. So I'm going to start with those first. I may have to, like at 5:30 or so, I'm going to have to kind of stop the stream regardless of where we're at. But we will try to get as far as we can. And we're not even going to need black. There was only a few black pieces up on the top. There's a little bit of brown on the bottom, but it's mostly red and blue with some of the Caucasian. So I'm going to just kind of add a little bit more of this. Red, blue, Caucasian, brown. So I have a feeling that the red, whatever we did before, I'm thinking we did a drop of red. What do you think? I think a drop will work. So let's try that. Let's put a drop of red in here. I need more little napkin things. I need a lot of them. I'll get some napkin things prepared, ready to rock here. Okay. Now we're ready. All right, so I'm going to do one drop of red. I'm pretty sure that's going to be perfectly fine. Maybe two. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think we'll be good to go with that. So I think we nailed the red. There is no black, so I'm just going to get rid of that thing. Blue will do. I'm going to do, I did like the tiniest drop with the blue, so we're going to do that again. I'm going to try to do just a tiny drop here. The blue is like thicker too. I noticed, like, compared to like yellow, and these are all Alumalite dyes. Compared to like yellow and that Caucasian, like it's very thin. Those ones are, but the blue is kind of a thicker dye. There we go. I think that'll work pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Actually, we didn't even use blue, so it doesn't matter. We don't we never even added any blue to this thing. So doesn't really matter what we do with this second round. I just thought of that. Anybody else realize that? Whoa, it went fast. Jerry had the idea to cast in one of your normal modes first. Yeah, that's what I think that would be a pretty good way to go also. But I really didn't want to have to mess around with like casting it and then read, you know, I just wanted to do it all at once kind of. But I do think that would be a good you're definitely guaranteed to have it like locked out at that point. And the nice thing about that is you're not going to really have cleanup. Now, the only issue with that is I don't know if the back side of the piece is going to look a little weird. So like if, let's say that you wanted to hang this thing in the window, from the one side, is it going to kind of look weird having that? Because there's really, unless you cut it off, there's no way to get that clear, you know, thing off. That would be my only concern with it. But other than that, I think it's a really good idea. And then we got, let's see, some Caucasian. I'm not worried about that. We added like 3 drops of Caucasian last time, maybe more. It just doesn't really alter the resin that much. It's not that strong, really. So I think 3 drops and we're back in business. About what it was. And they got this Caucasian, like I don't know if I've ever seen anybody use this. They have Caucasian, like Native American. It's all like skin tones. And they have like a whole set of different colors on their website, but most people don't really use those because they don't like what is that exactly? It's hard to identify what those colors necessarily are for use in other types of projects, unless you're specifically going for skin tones in your project. So most people don't use those. And if you're going for a certain color, it kind of, at least my thinking is, it makes more sense to create the colors using more primaries, like mix your own, you know, from primaries, rather than try to rely on something that you have no clue what the recipe started out as. All right. And we got brown, and that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna have to kind of test the brown out a little bit because it may kind of change when I suck it up into the pipette, you know. That might kind of change my thoughts, my feelings about it. So let's look at that real quick right now. I think that's about what we had it at. But I think because we're gonna be making like the part in the picture, I'm not sure if we're gonna actually make it all the way down to his shoes, but the bottom part brown is shoes. And so I'm actually going to go for dark. I'm just going to put a drop in, like a small drop. And I don't really care if it's not the same color as his hair. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of want it to be a little bit darker. So it looks pretty dark in this cup, but I think that it's going to be, you know, it is still transparent, and I think it'll look good for his shoes. But we're not going to get to that for quite a while. Okay, so where can you guys see what's going on? Maybe this angle, like kind of back, looking back over my shoulder. I don't know if that'll be cool. Let me know if this is cool or not. Actually, let me try and get the legs out of the way here. A little bit. Okay. All right, we're back in business, guys. So, pipette, red. So we're starting, we already got the neck. Let me mark that. So we need 2 squares of red. And I'm going to start out here. Hopefully it won't leak too much. Two squares of red. One square of blue. Now this is again going to be kind of a problem because of the offset thing with the grid. I didn't really think about that when I was looking. I just saw cells, you know, on the honeycomb and thought, oh, that'll be great. It'll work. But I didn't think about how they're not really aligned, you know, vertically and perpendicularly. So we'll have to kind of see. It might be a little bit off, but still think it'll be kind of cool. Okay. Oh, I was gonna say I was looking at the Marios, and then another idea was a Yin Yang thing, which that might work a lot better. Where if you're not really going for, like, you know, up and down vertical or horizontal lines of things, that's more of kind of a circle and kind of an odd, you know, pixelated color and shape and all that stuff. So that might have worked a little bit better with honeycomb. I just wanted to kind of mention that. I think I was trying to mention that and I forgot what I was talking about because I do that all the time. So I skipped a couple cells and went over, I needed one dot of blue, and then the rest of this is going to be red. And you can use these pipettes to, you know, add resin into, if you're like making pen blanks and want to kind of get color in, you know, very specific places. This is a good way to do that, to you know, direct color into a brick or a blank in specific places. Now you still have, you know, somewhat limited control over, you know, what all you actually are going to get in that. You know, it's still liquid resin, and so you have a little bit of limits on the amount of control, but you can kind of, you know, put it in very specific locations in your casting. A lot better than just dumping color, you know, in. Okay. Now, next one, we need 3 reds. Try and fill up my pipette. So, what are you guys? Window screens? Window screens. I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. There's probably some cool stuff. It's fun to go to just, you know, like you said, like a Home Depot or something, and just walk around. Like, there's all kinds of like building supplies that, like, you know, I don't necessarily know. It's not like I've ever really built houses before, so they got all kinds of cool stuff that you could use for different projects that, unless you've actually, you know, used it before, you wouldn't necessarily know unless you look at it. Oh, you got to watch out. If there's some air bubbles in that pipette and they get to the end, they'll just kind of splurt out, which just happened down there. I think that's going to be a red cell that it's kind of splurted into anyway, but just a warning. So we're on, let me mark it. Keep track of these marks so that I know which row I'm on. So 3, and then I'm going to have a blue. I'm going to skip that blue. We're going to go to the rest of the reds on this row first. One, two. Another one that I was thinking about that also might work for honeycomb is a Pac Man. I was kind of torn. I was like, everybody loves Mario. But Pac Man, he's pretty cool too. So 1, 2, 3, and then, oh, did I just screw that up? I just screwed up. I think I can salvage it. I'm gonna suck all that out. I don't know if you can see that, but it's sucking in blue too, because it's, I can't actually, it's got blue dye in there too, because it was bleeding across. That's terrible. Okay, well that pipette's dead. Yeah, so you really want to have your cells, blocked off. I don't think that the tape idea is a good idea. I wouldn't recommend it. See ya, Christina. All right. We'll go back and fill up our blue here. It's really easy to kind of like lose track of where you're at. So, just a warning. Okay, we got our blues. And yeah, because I'm still having the same problem. Like, it's not sealed. And they just, these cells are dropping. So, it's kind of a bummer, Kind of a bummer. Oh well. Okay, I need another red pipette. Back to red. Patrick, what's going on, man? All right, back to the red. We're getting a little crazy. I got to be honest, this is some tedious work right here. But it's pretty fun. So we need 3 reds. Okay. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more here. So if you're just joining the fun, I'm actually looking at this and it is looking kind of cool. I think I definitely messed something up in his eyes up here, but the rest of it is kind of looking Mario-esque. But the problem is we use some of this aluminum tape and it's not keeping the cells on the bottom. I'm getting bleeding. So it's kind of an uphill battle right now, and I'm not sure how well this is going to work out in the end, but it is looking pretty cool. Like, I don't know, it's, the shape is starting to take, it's starting to take shape in there, but I don't know if you guys can see, like there's areas on those bottom rows where the, resin is bleeding down in, and that's not good. So we got a couple of other types of things to use. This is like a clay or like Play-Doh type material. It's actually called Plumber's Putty, but basically the same. I'm not really seeing any leaking. There is one cell that has leakage, but I think what ended up happening was something dripped over the side, because there is no leakage in any of the other areas around here. So putty type stuff, clay, Play-Doh, I think that would be a good material to block off the back. And then we got wax over here. And again, let me move this out of the way. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on. I don't think that I'm seeing any problems on this one either. It's kind of hard to tell. There might be a little bit of maybe a little bit of bleeding possibly, but it also may have just been kind of same issue where it kind of dripped over the edge. There's not significant amounts. There's none of these cells are significantly low either. So I think that that's a better way to go. And then the other option that we've been talking about is to just, pour resin in the bottom, do a quick pour, maybe put, your honeycomb like in a mold, pour just like a 1/16 inch or something like that, a layer of resin, and then push your honeycomb in, let it set up using just clear resin, and then go about, doing this, and you're guaranteed at that point to have a, fully blocked bottom layer. So I think I also want to, we kind of started pouring, into these test things kind of in the middle of the working time of that last batch of resin. So I think this stuff is pretty much wide open, we just mixed it up. So I'm going to do some more just to make sure that we're getting, fair testing going on over here. I just want to see if we ever do run into any issues while this stuff is a little bit thinner viscosity possibly with wax or the plumber's putty. Getting air bubbles. Okay. We got some reds going on over there. I think that's brown. Let's go with some brown. And again, these ones are just for a test. I'm not actually trying to make a picture or anything specific. I just want to fill these cells with resin and see how the backing works. Okay. Oh, I guess I should do this one too. Huh? Sorry guys, this is kind of boring, but necessary. We must get the tests. Okay. So we got brown over there. Let's do a little Caucasian over there too. Oh, I just mixed them all, but that's okay. Trying to kind of hurry. That ends up causing issues. Okay, so we got a couple of those done. Let me scoot out of the way. I just wanted to see if I kind of caused any problems. So I got those all clean. So if there's anything that leaks out, we'll know. So let's see here. Cool Marios. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Hopefully you guys were able to see what was going on with these things. So we're on the next row down. So I'm just trying to kind of keep things marked a little bit, and man, these things just keep dropping. And like the next row down, like they're really filling up. Now that we're kind of in the middle of this thing, But I mean, I can tap this and I can see, you know, it changing. Like, tape is not the best way to go. I would not recommend tape. Another thing that might have helped is if we like held this down. Like the honeycomb may be a little bit kind of bent, but we're definitely having some issues here. It's too bad, but all right. So we need 4. Let's see here. Let's get back on track. Let's get that out of the way. Making a mess is what I'm doing basically. All right, so we'll go down to the next row, which we are, let's see here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I think we're in this row, which is kind of crazy because it looks like I've already been working on this row. Man. Oh, is it 5:45? Shoot. Okay. I can tell that I'm losing the patience and the ability to concentrate on this stuff. So, and I gotta go anyway. So we're gonna have to call it for today, unfortunately. But this was a little bit of a failure, but it was also worth finding out that the tape doesn't work. I really thought that was gonna be a good way to go. So I think what I'll probably do is, I don't know exactly how we're going to deal with it. I wanted to kind of get this thing done, but obviously that the tape didn't work. So it's probably best to start over and try a different one. So I might do that on my own time. I'm not sure exactly how it'll work. So I do apologize for not actually getting done with the project today, but I do appreciate you guys hanging out and joining the fun. Let's see here. I just want to stop real quick and see what you guys are up to in the chat here. Yeah, beeswax would work. I don't think painters, I wouldn't use tape. I don't think that's a good way to go. Sorry, just checking out what's going on here. Yeah, I think once we get it done, it'll be kind of cool. If you're looking for aluminum honeycomb, I sell it on my website, actually. And if you're using it for turning, I would kind of highly recommend you get it from me, because I actually have done testing to see which one works better. I haven't tested every possible type of honeycomb out there, but I don't really like buying stuff like that on eBay. Because you never know what you're actually getting, and you also don't necessarily know if you're going to be able to get the same exact product again. It's all just kind of like people sell scraps for the most part. So there's a link to where you can get it on my website if you want to pick some up. Yeah, so anyway, we got to kind of stop short. We worked on it for a while. Couple of thoughts about this project. So again, if you're the type of person that doesn't like... you don't have a lot of patience for stuff, you don't like very fiddly stuff like that, I might recommend not messing around with this, because I'm kind of that type of person, and it's like if you get frustrated, you know, doing very like small detailed stuff, maybe isn't the best thing for you to try, but it was kind of fun. Like if you got enough time, you know, using one of these different sealing methods to make sure that your cells are sealed, and you got enough time, I would probably recommend taking some breaks, like maybe work, you know, like for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then get up and you know, like do something else, like change, you know, get a little exercise and then go back. It's just after a while, looking at all these cells, your concentration starts to really slip, and then you make mistakes. But it's pretty fun. Like I said, it's also kind of relaxing as long as as long as you're not letting the process or things frustrate you. I think it's a kind of a cool thing. Now again, the honeycomb may not really work because they're kind of at an odd diagonal thing, and so if you're dealing with lines that need to be perpendicular, or like you know, things like colors that need to be right on top of each other, may not really work out that well. I think for things that are just more round and a little bit more abstract, I think that honeycomb would be a pretty good, you know, cell structure to fill. But I'll be kind of looking and seeing if there's any other, you know, any other things that I can just find kind of at like Home Depot or anything like that, and just kind of keep it in the back of my mind when I'm looking, that might work a little bit better for this. 3D printing just a grid of honeycomb, or not honeycomb, a grid of like squares, would probably be an easy way to go. And another thought, a project, is if you can make the grid, that would be a good, like a cool thing to make a silicone mold of, actually, and you can just make it out of resin. So I know a lot of people have done like honeycomb with resin and other things. You can maybe 3D print the grid and then just, you know, make a silicone mold of it. So anyway, I've been doing all the work. That's funny. Yeah, it was, the whole point of this was just to kind of learn, see how it worked. I was curious to see for a while. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too boring. Next week, I think we got something kind of cool. I got to make sure that I have everything ready, but I think next week's live stream you guys are going to really like. It'll be a little bit more fun and enjoyable and interactive. So anyway, let's see here. Just making sure that I'm not missing anything. All right. Hey, Mike McEwen, how's it going, buddy? I will. Gretchen's getting in back in town tonight, actually. Maybe coming in at it. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Ray. Yeah, you nailed it right there. Let's see here. Let the mold cure. Yeah, I'm gonna let that cure. The problem is, though, there's too many of those cells in that one that I was working on to keep going. I think it would be better just to start over on that one. But anyway, yeah, cool. Yeah, go and snowboard. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great evening. I hope you have a great weekend. And next week, we'll be back in action at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, and we'll do another live stream. For patrons, and if anybody's interested in becoming a patron, there's going to be a video, like a patron-only bonus video, turning up that the Magic Mountain thing, the little snowy-scape. So be looking for that if you're a patron. But other than that, guys, I will see you all next week. Have a great evening.